All right, welcome to another Jags podcast, episode 109. I am pumped tonight because finally Joey's back.
Finally.
It's been a long week, Joey.
It has
It's been a long week.
It has.
There's been a lot of Jaguars news,
Yeah.
right?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Something.
Well, to make sure you're up with all of it and all of the opine statements of Jaguar fans, make sure you follow our Twitter. We're at Another Jags Pod. Facebook, Instagram, Another Jags Podcast. You can search it up. Joey, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Glad to be back. Not a Monday, but a Tuesday, but not bad.
That's
Just
okay.
a day off. Yeah.
A little late week recording. Tuesday
Could be
night.
Thursday, could be Wednesday. I mean,
That's true.
Whatever.
Who knows? Yeah. I got to ask you because it's been a week since we've talked about Yannick Ngakoue. And I know most people are tired of talking about Yannick Ngakoue, but just give me like a sense as time's gone on and as news has come out, do you feel better or worse about this situation?
I mean, I'm neutral because literally nothing's changed. And I think it's kind of died off because I think everybody is kind of in the same boat. He's not going to be a Jaguar next year.
Yeah.
Period.
That's true. So you have you felt the same?
Yeah, I didn't think
Yeah.
there was any hope last week whatsoever. I didn't think there was any hope the week before. I think his Twitter comments nailed it. He's not going to be on the team.
Yeah. Well, so that leads us to the next player of importance that is no longer with the team. A.J. Boye was traded to the Denver Broncos in exchange for a fourth-round pick. We haven't gotten your opinion on that yet. A.J. Boye gone. What are your thoughts on that?
I was pretty certain they were going to let him go for cap space anyway. The fact we got a fourth-round pick for him was kind of a bonus, even though it's conditional. But still, I mean, we got something for him. I like Boye. He did what he was supposed to here. He's a great player. I mean, great guy. Never any trouble. Played well. And his leaving comments were fantastic. I mean, he appreciated his opportunity here. He said good things about Jacksonville and the fans. And I wish him well in Denver. I mean, I think he's just that guy. I mean, he was not worth, $9-10 million on the cap hit next year for what he was going to give us?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it was nice to see him handle it in a way that was respectful to the fans.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, we didn't see that out of our last defensive back that is no longer with the team.
No.
But at the same time, A.J. Boye being gone, I feel like the sentiment of most people is he was probably going to get cut. The fact that we got a trade for him is okay. Fourth round, good. We'll take it. But where does that leave the roster? I mean, well, this is where it leaves the roster. We have the roster pulled up. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, we have the roster pulled up to the left on the screen, and the defensive back class that's left is pretty underwhelming to say the least. So
and thin on top of that.
Thin and underwhelming. So what do the Jaguars do to fix this position? Because as we look at the roster, we have DJ Hayden, who is a decent back, a good player. Not sure what his capabilities are on the outside.
He's a nickel, though. He's
Yeah.
a very good nickel.
Absolutely.
But they're not putting him outside.
And you got Trey Herndon, who I think it's a coin flip either way. Like I think Trey Herndon's a good player, and I'm cool with Trey Herndon.
I like him.
Yeah, and I think he could roll into the season as your DB2.
I agree.
And he could prove himself to be a DB1. Who knows? I mean, he's only 24.
No,
people forget how young he is.
I'm fine with him on one side.
Absolutely. But then where are we left with? Because after that, we're at like Perry Nickerson, Brandon Watson. I mean, these guys aren't going to see the field. How should they address the gap at cornerback position?
I mean, do we get into it at this point of what I think is going to happen, or do I give you a fake answer?
I want to hear first of all what you would do, and then second of all what you think they're going to do.
I mean, what I would do is what I think they're going to do.
Okay, what is it?
I think that we are going all offense next year.
All offense. So
you can't fix all the problems that we have. You can't fix the other cornerback position. You can't fix the fact that we don't. I mean, we kind of have a safety, but not really. You can't fix the middle linebacker position as well as the aging middle of the defensive line and the people we're going to have to let go there. You can't fix all the defense and all the offensive concerns we have. So I think they're going all in on offense next year.
Okay, so this is where my question is. I've heard you mention that before, and I think that is a solution that could happen. We'll talk more about that, I think, later.
Sure.
But what I want to know from you is what are they going to do at the cornerback position?
Oh, I mean, they're going to draft somebody maybe third round, or they're going to pick up a $3 million DB in free agency, just somebody to fill the gap, man. It's not going to be anybody's excited about, or it's going to be somebody young that's got to learn the role that might be good later on. But, I mean, it's not going to be solid.
Okay, so You said a third round pick. Like when you were talking about the Jags going all offense next year, I assumed that's pick 1, pick 2, pick 3.
Okay, maybe fourth or I mean somewhere later in the draft they're gonna have to pick up some flyers to add to the defensive depth because we have so many holes. But they're not going to pick up big guys.
So I can't see them going into the season with the DBs they have. Like
no,
but I also don't see them solving it through a fifth, even a fourth round guy.
I don't think they're going to try to solve it. I think they're going to try to just plug somebody in.
I think if Okudah falls to them in the draft, Okudah's then as the guy.
Well, he's not going to though.
I don't think so either. But unless that happens,
if they take C.J. Henderson, I'm done being a Jaguars fan.
it's funny because you're saying you're a Gator fan.
I'm a huge Gator fan.
I'm a Gator fan.
C.J. Henderson is as soft as Play-Doh.
Neither one of us like C.J. Henderson.
No, because we watched him play last year, like a lot of snaps.
Yeah.
The dude is a soft cover DB, and that's it.
I mean, he's got like 4 picks in his career.
And he doesn't tackle.
I think I want to say his freshman year, redshirt freshman year, he led the team, he didn't lead the team. He had 22 tackles. I think the thing about him is that he can tackle. That's what they're saying.
Maybe
I didn't see it when he was playing at Florida. I didn't know nowhere did he play where he was like, man, that dude is a solid tackler. The way that Ahmad Black, the way that Major Wright, even Joe Hayden to a certain extent, would tackle. No. This guy doesn't really tackle like that.
There's no fierceness about him whatsoever.
Yeah, so I don't know. But look, on the Gator train here, a defensive back that may be a guy who the Jags bring in, how about a Brian Poole? Brian Poole, a guy that played in Atlanta. And
he's a good journeyman. He's solid. You know what you're getting out of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off his best season last year. He had like an insane coverage grade.
Did he play for Philly last year?
No, he played last year. I think he was with either the Jets or the Falcons.
Okay.
The Falcons.
Okay.
The Falcons. And so, good guy, good player. 80 coverage grade. I mean, that's what you want. 7.4 yards per reception in 2019. And so he did play slot though. So that's another guy that I don't know if there's going to be competition there with DJ Hayden, both playing slot receivers, but. Just interesting that it was another Gator player there. Kendall Fuller, that could be a guy that I think the Jags really could key in on. Not the greatest guy, not a guy that you think is going to solidify as your cornerback 1, but 2017 he had a good year. I mean, he was one of the best DBs in 2017, but he's kind of been falling off since then. But look out for Kendall Fuller. I think that's a name that you could see if they're doing your solution of going all offense. That's a guy that they might
sounds like a prime candidate.
Yeah, that could be it right there for sure.
I mean, I just don't expect you're going to see any like major moves on defense unless somebody crazy, like you said, Acuna, falls to us. I mean, if it's just unbelievable, like best pick possible falls to us, of course they're going to take them. But I don't think that's going to be their game plan. There's just too much to fix and. It just seems like they're selling the house off, man. I mean,
well, before we get into that, because you said they're selling the house off, and I think the discussion of are they tanking is an interesting question, and I want to get to that after the break in segment 2. But
sure.
I want to stay on this train of drafting all offense.
Yeah.
Because you've kind of seen, I mean, we kind of talked about that for a while. We said, why not do it? This is the time to do it when you're in the quarterback situation that you're in. You have another year with your running back that's pretty good. You feel good about your offensive line. This would be the year to do it if everything they're saying is true.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it months and months ago. So here we are a couple months later. I think you might have mentioned it in December, maybe.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Here we are, March. Are you still with that?
I am, because every move they're making leads towards that. I mean, they're making no decisions whatsoever to fix the defense because I think they have too much to fix. And look at the draft. It is a wide receiver, just healthy draft. It's an offensive line healthy draft. There's plenty of good running backs you can get all over the place to comment or to supplement Fournette. I mean, there's lots to be had on the offensive side of the ball, and we've got a lot of picks.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching our YouTube channel, which I recommend that you do, because who doesn't want to watch Joey and me hang out in the another Jags Pod studio with your Niagara water?
Hey, Niagara is. If we want to get into that, I've got a lot to say about Niagara. I mean,
No, let's save that for the.
It won't kill you. There's not carcinogens in it. Let's leave it at that, and it's cheap.
Well, in the YouTube video, I have pulled up on the bottom left the team stats and rankings for the Jaguars for offense last year. And although it is exciting to remember the plays that happened with Gardner Minshew and coming in and lighting a spark, when it really comes down to it, our offense was pretty putrid. I mean, this stat alone, our team had 300 points scored, and we gave up almost 400 points scored. So
yeah, it was pitiful.
Consistently worse than our opponent, which, given our record, is not surprising. 5.4 yards per play, which isn't actually terrible. I mean, if you can get to the 6 range, 7 if you're really, really good,
yeah.
If you can get to 6, then you're doing good. But if you couple 5.4 yards per play with only, they had, I think, 1,000 plays overall, it's not going to get the job done.
Think about the theory, though. Look at the players that we are keeping that I think most people would consider Jaguars stud players. Chark's going to be there. Foles, wouldn't consider him a stud because he hasn't shown it, but has the potential to be. Minshew, everybody loves him. Linder, they're definitely keeping him, and they're keeping Leonard Fournette. So those are the main stays that they are keeping for sure in offense. Defense, they might not be keeping anybody for the most part. That's a mainstay. Maybe Calais Campbell. Outside of that,
what do you think, Miles Jack? I mean, Miles Jack probably comes back.
Miles Jack comes back for sure. And, of course, Allen does because he's on a rookie deal. I mean, those guys are going to be there. But I'm saying as far as, the guys everybody knows, across the league as people that are up and coming and have a lot of potential, they're all on the offensive side. You plug in another wide receiver that's a stud. You plug in a tight end that helps out. Maybe a left tackle and a backup running back to help out Fournette that's got some potential. I mean, you can change stuff on the offensive line or offensive side and make it exciting. Hey, we might lose 40 to 30 something, but at least it'd be fun to watch them lose.
Okay, so I know this is impossible to know because you have to obviously be flexible with the draft order, but you have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. How many of those picks are you allocating to offense?
3.
Okay. And so 3 picks, and ideally, with what position? I mean, I know you got to be best player available, but what couple of positions would you be comfortable with them taking the one defensive player at?
The one defensive player, I'd like to see an interior defensive lineman or a middle linebacker.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think those are both pretty good there, depending on this. I mean, I've heard things about this. They're changing the scheme to a 3-4.
I think they should.
I think they should. I'd be so down with that.
Don't
That'd be
see it
so
happening,
sick. Put Josh Allen on one side. I mean, if you could even draft another 3-4.
But if they were going to do that, dude, they would have thrown the house at Ngakoue at this point. Why would you not keep him if you're going to a 3-4?
Maybe Ngakoue is more of a prototypical 4-3 D end, and we need either an outside rusher 3-4 guy or we need a 3 technique D lineman. So maybe he doesn't fit the mold of a 3-4, even though we would like him to.
I just blacked out a little bit. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, listen, in a 3-4, your outside linebackers have to be able to play the run and the pass. I mean, they have to be versatile. They have to be able to rush the passer and drop into coverage. You have to have athletes typically to do it. Josh Allen can do it. That's
absolutely.
one. I don't think Ngakoue can do it. So I don't think Ngakoue, he actually is decent at dropping into coverage, and people don't give him enough credit for that, for dropping into coverage.
He absolutely
can.
But
his ability to keep his outside shoulder free, seal the backside, and turn everything back in against the run, he cannot do. He gets blown up and he gives up the outside. So he can't play that 3-4 outside edge. So his only other option is to move inside to that interior 3 technique D end, which typically is played by a guy like Taven Bryan, Calais Campbell, something like that, and he's not that either. So if we are going to the 3-4, he doesn't really fit that mold.
It makes even more sense why we're not trying to sign him.
Yeah, but however, a guy like Isaiah Simmons, you put him and Miles Jack and Josh Allen, those 3 guys as your 3 of your 4 linebackers in a 3-4, that is absolutely disgusting.
Now, I've obviously said we're going offense, but Isaiah Simmons is a guy that I would love to have.
Okay.
That guy's unbelievably nasty.
We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back from the break, I'm going to tell you what I would do with the first 4 picks.
I like that.
Okay, because it would be a little differently than what you're saying. But
Well, yours is not going to happen. Mine is, but okay.
that's probably true. But we're going to take a quick break, so don't go anywhere. We're going to get a word from our sponsors. Make sure to support them. We appreciate them, everything they do. They keep us on the air. Shout out to them. Sit tight, and we will be right back. All right, welcome back to another Jags podcast, episode 109. Me and Joey are here chilling tonight, just talking Jags football. Not a lot going on in the Jags world.
I failed to mention something very important earlier. And
What was
I
that?
know I love when you I break stuff up. You love that, right?
Absolutely.
It's the Minshew the Second T-shirt, jersey shirt that you're wearing right now, which is on point.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm
Absolutely.
completely jealous. I love it.
Let me move my little laptop here down
Yeah,
so
you've
that
got to
YouTube
see
can
this.
see.
It's
my-
rock solid.
Honestly, my whole life I have been anti-jersey tees. Can't tell you when a time I've ever wanted one or thought they've even looked good on anybody, to be honest with you.
So you hated my Bortles one, 3 years in a row that I wore it every single opportunity I had.
I got to say, doesn't matter who, if they wore a jersey tee, I thought they looked stupid.
Nah,
That's how I felt. That's how I
Okay.
grew up. That's how I was raised.
fair enough.
Here I am at 30 years old. Gardner Minshew comes into the league, and I was like, I'm not going to buy a jersey.
No.
But a jersey tee.
That pairs way better with some cutoff jean shorts than a jersey does.
And now that I actually am talking it out and I actually am thinking about, I actually did buy this for Halloween when I did go as Gardner Minshew.
Well, that makes more sense.
That does, okay. And
But
it
it is a good-looking shirt.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I teased at the break. I was going to talk about what I would do with the picks. And it's no secret that I'm a defensive guy.
Yeah.
I'm defensive through and through. I loved what the Jaguars have been trying to do, build the defense. That's my style. That's how I would do it because defense wins championships over and over and over again. We see that. If it's me, and I asked you the question, I said, you have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. How many defensive players are you drafting? You said 1. You said you're taking 3 offensive players.
Yes.
For me, I'm trading 2 of those picks to move up to get Isaiah Simmons.
And in all fairness, when you ask that question, I'm thinking normal draft picks, not something like that. If we can get Isaiah, do it. I mean, that guy is a generational player. He's unbelievable. I would be all for that.
As far as people are like, oh yeah, obviously if he falls to you, but like you said, I would trade up for him.
Yeah, I would have no problem with that.
Joe Burrow, I would trade up for Joe Burrow.
I would too.
Chase Young, I would trade up for Chase Young.
I don't know about that one.
And Isaiah Simmons is the only other person I would trade up for. Akuda, nope. Any other quarterback, Tua, it didn't matter.
Nope.
I wouldn't trade for any of those guys.
I agree.
I think there was a latest, I think Bleacher Report put out a mock draft where we traded up to get Tua at 2 or 3. And it's just no, dude, we have Gardner Minshew. We're fine. But, come with me for a little bit here on this journey, okay? The defense is now a 3-4 defense. You're the Jaguars. On the defensive line, you've got Marcel Darius back on a restructured cheap deal. You have Calais Campbell on one side, and you have Taven Bryan on the other. Those are your 3 defensive linemen who can all 3 push the line of scrimmage.
Big dudes.
And honestly,
big,
those
strong dudes.
And honestly, those 3 people, the best thing they're good at is pushing line of scrimmage.
Pushing dudes.
Then
Yes.
behind you have 4 linebackers. On the strong side, you have Josh Allen, one of the best players in the league.
Unbelievable.
On the backside linebacker, you have Isaiah Simmons, which you've traded up for.
Beast.
You put Miles Jack on the interior, and you literally just go out and find a serviceable linebacker to plug into that other 4th linebacker spot. Can you imagine that front 7 against any team? That's disgusting.
It really wouldn't matter where our secondary looked like at that point. I mean, that would be insane.
And
I have to agree.
If you trade Ngakoue for any pick, and you can draft look, you do have to address corner. Look, if you address cornerback with let's say I know no one would do this. Let's say we traded 9 and 20 up for Simmons. I know nobody wants to do that. You can still then use your 2nd round pick to go get a defensive back. Okay, then you have another 2nd round pick to address offense, tight end, or receiver, or offensive line. You have a 3rd round pick to address
good.
And then you haven't spent any money. You haven't spent any money. You have no contract obligations coming up. Ngakoue's gone. Ramsey's gone. Bouyer's gone. Fournette is your next contract obligation. You have nothing coming up that you have to worry about. You have money to go out and get a receiver. You could pair with DJ Chark. You could go out and get a linebacker, a corner, a safety. You can do whatever you want.
I love that plan. But again, my plan was based off the fact that those things are hard to pull off. So who do we trade up to? Who are we going to – what spot do we have to go to? 5?
I think you could find someone who – no, I think you have to trade up to 3. That's what I'm saying. You have to trade up to 3 or 4. I have Isaiah Simmons. If you're on our YouTube, I have his mock draftable numbers up here. And if you look at his little spiderweb chart, it's through the roof. And I love the athlete comparisons of players like George Kittle and Derwin James, guys that
No, he is going to be an elite NFL player. I have no doubt whatsoever. But are we talking about the Dolphins?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to look at the Dolphins as a team that you could trade up for.
But they want a quarterback, do they not? I mean,
they could, but I mean, look, they still could have another year in Rosen if they wanted to. Look, the Lions, that's a team you could trade up to. I mean, could be looking for a quarterback, but they could move down to get a Herbert or a guy like Lions. That. I mean, Miami. I mean, the Panthers. If he's there at 7, look, it's just
there's also a huge like Darius. I mean, I don't see that guy being back.
That's true. And look, you could plug in. I mean, you could go out and get an Avery Jones. You could go out and get a guy that's serviceable like that.
Okay.
How about the Giants? Could you trade up? Could you trade 9 and 20 to the Giants? I think they would do that.
We're a Giants 6.
They're 4.
4.
If Simmons is there at 4.
Oof.
If Simmons is there at 4, do you look? I know. I know because look, the thing is that at 9 and 20, you're getting 2
that might
potential.
Just work, man.
You're getting 2 potential starters for the next 10 years.
Not like generational players.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, are you going to get a generational? I think Josh Allen is a generational player, and he fell to us at 7, and we were lucky. No one's falling outside of 7. That's generational.
I agree.
No one is. You got to move
the Giants
up.
At 4, that makes a lot of sense. They've already got their quarterback.
And if you're in win now mode, like we'd planned on, like we're
not in win now mode.
Well, that's it. That's a great transition to there. That's a great transition to are we in win now mode? Because I want to ask you, Joey, are we tanking?
I think we're going for Trevor Lawrence. We're tanking for Trevor. I think we don't quite know what we have at quarterback. We don't know who our head coach is. We don't know who our general manager is. I absolutely think this is a transition year where they're just doing the best they can to get the next year. And I don't think we want to win. I think we want to maybe make it look like we are, but none of the decisions are pointing towards that, man.
Okay, so here's where I don't think we're tanking. First of all, and I think this is point number 1, evidence 1A, Caldwell and Marone don't have time to tank. If they go 8 games into the season and have won less than 4, I think they're fired. Unless
they've been told, hey, this is what's happening, this is what we're doing, so we can get Trevor Lawrence next year.
There's 0%. I mean, there's 0% chance. You cannot.
Dude, they said at the end of last year that we had to win or they were gone, and they're not gone.
Exactly. And I think they're giving him one more year without Coughlin. I think this is it.
So you believe them this year, but not last year?
I think that they should have done it last year, and there's no way that they can. I mean, there's just no absolute way. So this has to be it for them. This has to be. There's no way that they can be here another year.
I definitely think at least one of the two will be here next year, regardless of what happens this year.
I think.
I think it definitely is DC.
Listen, there's a lot of former head coaches on this coaching staff. That's a scary.
I agree,
dude. That's.
But none of them that are stepping in the general manager position. I mean, Marone's the one on the hot seat.
Yeah, but you could fire a GM and get you until the end of the year. That's what I'm saying. If we are tanking, then we go into 2021 with the first round pick and a new GM and a new head coach. That's what's happening. And Caldwell knows that, and Marone knows that. So I don't think we're tanking. And that's why I think trading up is a possibility.
I would love that. Don't get me wrong. I would love that.
Point 2. Look at the last picks at number 1. I know Trevor Lawrence is generational. Are we guaranteed the first pick? All it takes is one late season win at Indy.
But we have enough draft capital to trade up to the first pick.
I don't know.
As long as we're sucky enough.
I think Trevor Lawrence is a generational guy that if you get him, because look, if you on our YouTube, we have all the first round picks over the last 15 years. Okay?
They're almost always quarterbacks. I get that.
And really they're not that good. Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett, Jared Goff, Jameis Winston, Clowney, Fisher, Luck, Newton, Bradford, Stafford. Look, a couple of them have been great. A couple of them have been whiffs. Look, here's the thing. I don't think that Trevor Lawrence is a whiff. I think he's a guaranteed grand slam. That's why I think we won't be able to trade up to that if we don't get it.
You don't think somebody would take 2 number 1s for Trevor Lawrence?
I don't think so. I think Trevor Lawrence transcends all of those trades.
Really?
Remember RG3 got like 4 first-round picks?
And they should have taken him.
And RG3 is a guy that everyone thought was going to be Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence is what everyone thought RG3 was going to be. So I don't think we'll be able to trade into that pick. I don't think we have time. I don't think this front office has time. I don't think we're in tank mode. I think this is their win now mode. And that I know. And I know. And I know.
If that's the revamp, what you're saying, they are switching to a 3-4, and that's the plan, and they're just being like coy about it. Like I said, Marone's the chess master, in my opinion, at times. Great, because I'd be excited about that. I just don't think they're that good and that smart as a front office that's the truth.
Why the hell wouldn't you switch to a 3-4 this year?
Because they never have. Why didn't they last year?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, is this not the Hail Mary year? You would think going out and getting Nick Foles on an $80 million contract with a team that's 2 years removed from the AFC Championship game is in Hail Mary mode.
Yeah, you would think they would have gotten a tight end since that was like his key to being successful, but they didn't. So, I mean,
That's true. That's a good point.
you don't know what they're going to do.
Can't use logic. Is that what you're saying? Can't use logic.
Yes, what you're saying makes so much sense.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, but they probably won't do it. You're right.
Yeah, they'll do the opposite of that, which is go all offense.
All right. So we'll ask this question a bunch of times, and our mind will change. And in our next episode, we're going to throw out some Twitter questions to you guys to answer. But Joey, let me ask you, if you're picking today, realistically and ideally, okay, so realistically they could be there at 9. Ideally, they fit and we need them. There might be the best player available at 9. Who are you picking today?
Probably the Alabama wide receiver. Judy?
Jerry Judy?
Or Judy, yes.
CeeDee Lamb. Okay, so most people will just say
I would say receiver at 9.
So it could be CeeDee Lamb. It could be Jerry Judy. Yeah.
Which, I mean, I know that's risky. I know there's tons of receivers that haven't made it at that point, but that's probably where I would go. Man, I don't think they're going offensive line at 1. You definitely don't want to go running back at 1 because you can get somebody in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round that could blow it up. Offensive tackle, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
I would like to see one offensive lineman drafted, and that Georgia guy drops down. I'd love to see him on the team.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I mean, offense would be great. If we're not going to trade up to get Simmons.
Trust me, I like your plan.
Yeah.
Like way better.
I feel you. But
I just think that's much harder to pull off, and I don't trust our guys to do it, man. Honestly,
I think if you offered,
I think New York's intriguing because I didn't realize they were picking 4, and they don't need a quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And if
that could make some sense. If we only had Coughlin with connections in New York, that'd make more sense.
If you're New York and you look at the Jags 9th pick and you could draft you a really good offensive lineman to protect Daniel Jones and it
makes a ton of sense, man. I like it.
And look, nobody wants to give away that 20th pick because, like I said, there's potentially 2 20-year or 2 10-year starters at 9 and 20, but it's also 2 potential busts.
Yeah.
I'd rather go for the sure thing, Isaiah Simmons, wrap it up with some 2nd and 3rd round picks, surround that defense, add a free agent on offense. You even have the money there for Hooper. I don't want Hooper, but you have the money there for Hooper.
Why don't you want Hooper?
Because he's too expensive. He's going to end up he's going to end up getting like $12 million a year.
You think it's like
on a multi-year?
Julius Thomas?
I think you have to have the right type of quarterback to make a tight end have value at that level, and the only guys that could do that are like Matt Ryan, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Nick Foles, but I don't know if Nick Foles is going to get
Jimmy G.
Yeah, Jimmy G. Yeah. So I mean, there's a handful of them out there. I don't know if Gardner Minshew could get $12 million
what about
a
Hayden
year
Hurst
worth
in
of
free agency then?
Hayden Hurst we have to trade for, so you'd have to trade like a 3rd or 4th round pick for Hayden Hurst.
Okay.
I'm not a big Hayden Hurst guy.
Really?
Yeah, I just something about guys that
are from Jacksonville
take to the. I understand he played baseball, but he's like 28. He's not. He's not like. He's just.
I think if we pulled up old tapes of another Jags podcast, you were high on Hayden Hurst.
I don't think
the
so.
Draft. I think you were.
Maybe.
I think you added at that point like he's mature.
Maybe that sounds like something I would.
But he hasn't done a lot for Baltimore.
Just like Hayden Hurst has matured, I have also matured in my takes, and I don't think that he was right fit.
That was fantastic.
Well, anything else you want to add? I think it's going to wrap up our podcast.
I think it's a good summary of where we're at. I mean, we got the draft coming up. We're gonna have fun at the draft. It's gonna be a good time, and that's our time of year is the draft.
I mean, that's where we make our money is in draft evaluations.
I mean, it's a whole new world.
Absolutely. I will say that we are running out of topics now that there's no interesting things happening until
we do need some fan feedback.
we are. We're gonna have some Twitter polls out there. So make sure you comment on the Twitter polls because that's pretty much what we're picking for these podcasts to read on here.
I would like the next one to be nothing but responding to fans.
I think that's what it'll be. Our last one, we got a lot of the fan interaction talking about the tight ends. If you go back and listen to episode 108, we got a lot of your feedback on the tight end position. That's kind of what we talked about a little bit last week. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to support our sponsors. Thank you guys so much for listening. You know what really helps us out is giving us a rating on iTunes. So just give us a 5-star rating. We have the highest rating of any Jags podcast. So we're not just another Jags podcast, but we're also the highest rated Jags podcast. So
we're big on Instagram now too.
Instagram, we've popped off on some followers. Shout out to our UK fans because apparently the UK loves us. We're picking up a bunch of UK fans left and right. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening from across the pond. Shout out to our Duval people that are here as well.
I mean, pretty soon with like coronavirus, like the only thing you're gonna be able to do is like hole up in your house and listen to our podcast.
That's true.
We're about to get huge.
That's a good point.
We
the
are about to
coronavirus
get
has
huge.
created a opportunity for people to listen to us.
Yeah, can't catch it. Listen to us.
We'll make sure to step our game up at the same time.
I agree.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you guys in a couple days. We'll have some more podcasts out. And as always, go Jags.
Go Jags.